All right, so this lesson is going to continue with the whole idea about working with slope-intercept form, which we started on Monday. In that previous lesson, we talked about this being slope-intercept form, where the x and the y are variables, and the m is slope, and the b is y-intercept, right? So anytime you get a y to be plain and by itself, look after it, and if the number, if there's a number times x plus this plain number, then we know it's in slope-intercept form. And we know that this m, this number next to the x, is our slope, and we know that this number b, this plain b, is going to be our y-intercept. If it's a plus with a number, it's going to be a positive number. If it's a minus a number, it's going to be a negative number. So in looking at slide 2 in this equation, y equals 2/3 x plus 1. To identify the slope, all you simply do is look at this equation. You say, okay, here's the x, and the number next to the x is our slope. And then you say, okay, well, what's the y-intercept? And I notice that my y-intercept is here. It's a positive 1. And so we know that that is our b. So then as we are typing in this answer, I'm going to click that square root symbol. I'm going to do 2 divided by 3 for my slope. And then my y-intercept is going to be the coordinate pair 0, 1. That's it. Okay. Yeah, Jade, I haven't opened it up yet. I will in just a second. So again, the number next to x is going to be our slope. The number that's plain and by itself is going to be the y-intercept. Okay, we're going to use that information to actually help us make a graph in just a moment. So go ahead and move up to slide 2. Go ahead and copy what you see on my slide 2 onto your slide 2. And then when you have done that, move up to slide 3 so I know we're ready to move on. Xavier, Paula, Dylan, you guys should be up on slide 2, copying my slide 2, and then moving up to slide 3 so I know that you are ready. Ellen, I see you in. Thank you. All right, I'm going to move up to slide 3 momentarily and walk you through exactly what we are going to do with it. Slides 3, 4, 5, and 6 are going to be the part for the lesson where I do it. and explain it with you, and then you will get your work on your own time once you get to slide 7 here. All right, so as we take a look at slide 3, it says given the equation y equals 2/3 x plus 1, since the slope is 2/3, we just said that on slide 2, and the y-intercept is 1, here's the graph of that equation. I want you to write down an observation that you notice about the graph. Go, if you haven't done so already. Write down an observation about that graph. Write down an observation that you see about this equation and comparing it to the graph. Somebody put their hand up and I'm not seeing it. Okay, got it. Thank you, Bryant, for letting me know. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing it. All right, again, you should be writing down an observation that you see about this graph compared to the fact that we know that the slope is 2/3 and the y-intercept is 1. Let's see what you guys think. Switch into this one. Goes up, it does go up. That's a positive slope because we know from left to right that line goes up like you're climbing up a hill. Bryant, it looks like you are still filling in your, did you finish your statement yet? Yeah, Ben, it does go up by 2/3. That's right, it goes up to right 3, right? Nora, that's correct. Yes, it is a straight line. It is both in the positive and negative. Mateo, that's also what I'm looking for, the going up to right 3. It is positive. It's going up. I like it. How about the y-intercept, folks? What is the y-intercept of that? What did we just say? It's 1, right? Remember, this is the coordinate pair 0, 1. I'm going to write here this y-intercept. Right here is that y-intercept, and this is that coordinate pair of 0, 1. Oop, it's going to write funky. 0, there. 0, 1. There's your y-intercept. And like I said, a couple of you recognized that we've got our slope of up 2. That's our rise. And our run is 1, 2, 3. That's our run, right? And that should make sense because our fraction 2/3. Awesome. All right, let's look at slide 4. Henry and Alan, you should be up on slide 4, please. So slide 4 actually just reemphasizes what I just showed you about slide 3. It's highlighting the fact that here's our y-intercept, right, at that coordinate pair 0, 1. This is the y-axis. That vertical one is the y-axis. And then we've got that slope, that rise of 2, that run of 3. Up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. Okay, so what we're going to do for the next 2 slides is we're going to use this idea of recognizing both slope and y-intercept, and we're going to create a graph from that information. So can you please look back at the meat? I'm going to walk you through slide 5. You don't have access to this yet. I want to walk through slide 5 first, and then I'll give you time to copy. Okay, So here's what's going to happen when we are given an equation and we are going to, or we're asked to make a graph. The first thing that I want to point out to you is that the equations that you're given today are in the form of y equals mx plus b. That's what we talked about the other day. Y equals mx plus b. Remember, m is the slope. We talked about that also again on slide 2. And b is that y-intercept. So when you have to graph from a slope-intercept form, the first thing that you are going to do is start with that y-intercept. So since it's typed in purple, I'm just going to grab the purple color, and I'm going to circle my y-intercept here with the 0 and the -3. And then I'm going to write my coordinate pair here. Writing that coordinate pair down in addition to circling it is going to help reinforce exactly what you're looking for, as well as this first number right here in the coordinate pair should always be 0. So that's what I'm going to start with. So I'm going to go to the coordinate pair 0, -3, and I'm going to put my point. Remember that y-intercept should always be on this vertical axis. Then I'm going to identify my slope. My slope, I'll use blue. My slope is going to be the number that's next to the x. If there's not a number next to the x, remember there's an imaginary 1 there, okay? So keep that in mind for when you have to figure out how to graph those points. I know that my slope is 1/4, so I know my rise will be 1, and my run is 4. Once you identify your slope, then you go back to the y-intercept, and you're going to move whatever the slope is. So because my rise is a +1, I'm going to go up 1 from that point. I am not going to put another dot. And then my run is 4. It's like walking up 1 block, turning the corner, and walking 4 more blocks to the right. If my slope had been -1/4, I would have gone down 1, but I would still go right 4. Okay, so again, I went up 1, and I went right 4. Once I have at least 2 points graphed, then I'm going to make a line between those 2 points to show, do another one right here, just to show what that line would look like. This is what you are being asked to do. I should have picked not purple. That's right. This is what you're asked to do. So you're going to identify the y-intercept first, graph it, then identify the slope, move whatever the slope is, and then graph your second point and draw a line. All right, slide 5 is open. I will keep my slide up here. Go ahead and copy my slide 5 onto yours, and I will open up slide 6 shortly to help reinforce something that, so that I know that we're ready to move on. Asia, we're up on slide 5, please. Grace, Mateo, Dylan, Henry, we should be up on slide 5. Copying what you see on my slide 5 onto your slide 5. Okay, Mateo, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know. All right, and I'm going to open up slide 6. I would like you to try slide 6 while you're waiting for, while we're waiting for others to complete slide 5. Bryant? Nonlinear? Yeah, not this year. You'll do that next year in 9th grade. Yep, all of the 8th grade standards are all about linear ones, which are the straight lines. So, but you'll do that next year. Come on, folks, let's go. You should be copying what you see on my slide 5 onto your slide 5, please, and then trying slide 6. Chop, chop. Thank you. I see more of you switching back and forth between the screen, the Meet, and your Desmos. Like I said, as soon as you get slide 5 copied, move up to slide 6. Give that one a whirl while we are waiting for others to copy slide 5. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to finish slide 5, and then we're going to move up to slide 6. All right, so if you could switch over to the Meet, I'll walk you through slide 6, and then you can check your work to see if what you did was correct. So like we said on the previous slide, the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to label this y equals mx plus b, just to help reinforce the fact that we need our equations to be in this form in order to identify both the slope and the y-intercept. We're going to start with B, which is our y-intercept, and I'm going to circle that to be the coordinate pair 0, 5. And I'm going to graph that point. So that should have been the first thing that you did. So 0 and then up 5. Again, if it was minus 5, you would have gone down to 5 and put a point there. So that's our first thing. Then we're going to move in the direction of what the slope is. In this case, slope is positive. I'm sorry, wrong problem. Slope is negative. Interesting enough, though, I don't have a fraction here. I've got just this whole number. So one thing that I want you to remember is that whenever you see a whole number as your slope, there's an imaginary 1 underneath it as your rise. Then once you have that, then you're going to move whatever this direction is from your y-intercept. Because my rise is a negative 3 from that point, I'm going to go down 3. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to stop at the corner. And then because 1 is positive, I'm going to move 1 to the right, positive 1. And there's my second point. Now, the nice thing is I have space here on this one, on this graph where I could have had a third point. You don't have to put 3 points in there. I just think having a third point helps it be just a little bit more precise and accurate. I'm going to grab red, and I'm just going to draw my line between those 3 points. And there is my line. So a couple of things. Somebody asked in last hour, if your slope is negative, does that mean both the numerator and the denominator are negative? The answer is no. Just keep the negative with your numerator. Because remember, if your slope is negative, you need that line to go down to the right. That's why. So take a look at your slide 6, compare it to mine, and fix anything that needs to be fixing. And then when you have done that, go ahead and move up to slide 7. All right, again, go ahead and fix your slide 6. So this is what you're going to be doing on today's assignment, is you're going to identify the y-intercept and you're going to identify the slope, graph the y-intercept, make a couple more points, and then graph your line and move on. Okay, so I'm going to stop the pacing, so go ahead and keep working as you go. The rest of this activity is all the same idea. Graph the y-intercept, use the slope to get to your next point, and then graph at least one more point, if not 2. And then draw the line. All right, so I'm going to stop this recording as you're working, and then in a moment I'll open up breakout rooms. If you would like to accept the invitation to go into breakout room,